Zephyr294 wrote a touching tribute to her cat, and it instantly made me cry and made me think of my childhood cat when I was little, Tojo, and I wrote a virtual tribute in mycemetery.com several years ago about Tojo, and I just want to read his story now. Blue sky, in memory of my beloved Siamese, Tojo. In the early morning of October 3rd, 1976, Susan, our Siamese cat, gave birth to kittens in my bed. I was 6 years old. One by one she carried them beneath my bed, where she thought they would be safe. This event changed my life forever. There were several girls, but only one boy, and for some reason we decided to keep the boy, a beautiful male Siamese cat with the bluest eyes that we named Tojo. Tojo became my whole life. That's how I could really put it. I am sorry now that I dragged him through the first part of my childhood, those youthful, innocent years when I dressed him in doll clothes, etc. But Tojo truly loved me. Each day he followed me around like a little kitten. When I went to school, he would see me off at the curb. He would usually be there to greet me when I returned home, and he always slept with me at night on my chest. I will never lose that wonderful, intimate feeling of love, my Tojo purring me to sleep every night. I grew up with Tojo. He was my best friend. I don't know what I would have done without him. Oh, even the neighbors in town commented about us. They would say that we were inseparable, and that was the truth. How inseparable. I had my best friend Tojo for 8 years, until I started to have breathing problems. My mother took me to the doctor, and he decided that my problem was that I was allergic to Tojo, and to get rid of him. How absurd, I thought. Surely nothing would change. Mom warned me about sleeping with Tojo. She would put him out in the hall at night, and I would hear him crying for me, and in the middle of the night I would venture out to set him free and return him to my arms. But that didn't work. I don't remember ever saying goodbye. I don't ever remember holding him one last time. When I returned home from school one day, weeks later, Tojo wasn't there. He wasn't there when I came home. He just wasn't there. Mom and Dad thought it was best to give him away so I could get better. Oh no. I remember looking out the window in shock. I was determined to get him back. I was 12 years old. They had given him to a couple 6 miles out of town, and they said perhaps the whole situation could be temporary if I got better. Well, I wanted to see Tojo immediately. I woke up every morning wondering about him and cried myself to sleep every night. My parents gave up several weeks later and permitted me to go see him. We drove to the house and met the family, and I searched wildly for my friend, calling and calling his name, but Tojo had decided to run away from his new home. The house was in the midst of miles of cornfields, and twice my father drove me to those fields, and twice I screamed and yelled for Tojo for hours of 2 beautiful nights. I begged with the sky, I made deals with God. I prayed for my best friend to return to my arms. Back then, the movie The Incredible Journey was out. The movie was about 3 lost animals who covered hundreds of miles to return home to their beloved owner. One of the animals was a Siamese cat named Teo. I believed that in my own situation that Tojo surely would come back. It was only 6 miles. Surely he would return to me. The weeks turned into months, and the months became a year, and Tojo never returned, and never was there a dry eye in my bed for many years at night. When I was 14, my parents sold our house, and we moved away. To make matters worse, a bank bought our home and leveled it to the ground for a parking lot. The last thought I had was looking up Main Street in Pennsylvania and wondering how Tojo would ever come home. I still had hope, even then. I never saw my blue-eyed Tojo again. I think it took several years to stop crying at night. Perhaps I was 18 before I really got over my sadness. But at the time I wrote this story, I couldn't stop crying. I was 28. Several years ago. I carried a lot of despair for years, gained a lot of weight, lost a lot of inspiration. I even bargained. This is Morgan. Hi, Morgan. I even bargained with God, asking that if there wasn't possibly a place for cats in heaven, that I could trade my entry with him. For once, he meant everything to me. So is the importance of saying goodbye. I was never given that right. I couldn't hold him one last time and tell him how sorry I was. I couldn't tell him one last secret, for he kept them all. He could no longer climb up on the radiator and look at me and prepare for one long last chat. We never said goodbye. We didn't know. So, dear Toto, I'm saying goodbye today. I now have a place to place your roses. I now have a place to cherish you. I've been wandering lost. Goodbye, my love. You are my gentle prince, who now lays down with the kings of the earth. I only hope that your life was not painful in its end, and that someone cherished you until your last moment on this earth, and that you died in someone's arms filled with love and memories both old and new. And even perhaps with a picture of your little blonde-haired girl who loved you more than anything. Rest, my Tojo, and greet me when I have given the world all the love I have left to give. What a wondrous day that will be when I will finally come home to you. I have 2 cats now. Morgan, my beloved Gray, and Rory, my Persian. Good night, my Tojo. I still search the blue sky for you. When I wrote this, I remember tears streaming down my face and down my neck. And the animals are very important to many of us. And we're lucky to have them. Right, Morgan? Well, Desiree just wanted to post this. Maybe you'll see it. And to all you animal lovers out there. And for anyone who has happened to watch this, have a good night. And say a little prayer for your 4-legged or 2-legged friends. Or 6 legs. Or how many legs does a millipede have?